Welcome back to Crayon Box Weekly Interview Edition. I'm Carl Abel, and for this episode, I will be joined by journalist and fellow podcaster Bob Gatty. He is the host of the Lean to the Left podcast and started his show in order to push back on the fake news narrative of Trump 1.0. He continued his efforts in order to hold power accountable. And in this episode, we get into what he is seeing right now, how the media is responding, and what it feels like when the political temperature keeps rising. Let's get started.
When you were on the Lean to the Left podcast, which is my podcast, which I really enjoy doing, and which I started in 2021 because first I started it earlier than that. It was called Not Fake. It was called NFN Radio News, and that's because my website was then called Not Fake News, and I set that up to fight against Trump's bullshit about the media being the enemy of the people, and everything was all fake news and all. And hell, I spent my whole career as a journalist or communications guy, and it ticked me off no end. And so I figured, what the hell? I'm retired now, so I'm going to go after the son of a bitch with his. So I started Not Fake News. Then I realized a lot of people don't know what NFN Radio News would be. They need to know that I'm coming from the left. And so I changed it to Lean to the Left. Simple. And I don't know if it's done any good or not, but I do have a number of, I have like 8,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that's not too bad. And so anyway, where were we? How did
I mean, hey, that's better than my 30 subscribers.
Well, yeah, but I have to admit, I paid a guy to help me boost my subscribers. And I had it at one time, it was up to like 12,000. But then I think YouTube figured out that a bunch of them must have been bots or something because they took a whole bunch of them away. Now I'm at 8,000. But I think they're all legit now, and that's good. Because I do get comments and likes and that kind of thing. Oh, dislikes too. The MAGA people come on. Matter of fact, I have on my Lean to the Left Facebook page, well, all of a sudden it seems to have been taken over by the MAGA people. And I don't understand how that happened, but it seems like, you keep scrolling down and it's one bullshit MAGA thing after another. And I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Yeah,
so now I'm trying to fight back.
I've noticed the same thing happening on the Crayon Box Politics Facebook page.
Really?
Yeah, it's just so like not our posts and everything, but when you scroll through the feed and all that stuff,
right,
it's turning into more MAGA, more right-wing style conversations, and I don't understand how that's happening.
Yeah, I don't either, but maybe there's a campaign out there to come and get all of us. I don't know. Trump is probably behind it. He had nothing else to do, right? I mean, he's running all this stuff in Minnesota and Maine and trying to take over Canada and Greenland and trying to take over Venezuela. And hey, what did you think about this bullshit of him going to trying to take over Venezuela, where it's now all about the oil, but the oil people say, well, we don't want to go to Venezuela, we can't do it. So he did no homework, apparently. He just did it, which is typical.
Right. Yeah. So Venezuela oil is really, they got a lot of it, but it's really cruddy oil. I mean, the only refineries in the region that can actually turn that oil into something usable is in Texas. So it makes sense that we wanted to go after them, but at the same time, the companies don't. Man, see, you're interviewing me now on my show. It's great.
I'm sorry. That's what I'm used to doing, you know? That's what I'm used to doing.
I mean, hey, I appreciate it. It keeps the conversation going.
Okay, wait, I'll shut up and you can fire. You ask all the questions you want.
Well, let me flip it on you. What do you think? I mean, what do you think about the whole situation with the international community? How we are essentially setting up a system where it's ruled by strength instead of ruled by laws.
Well, I just think that's a horrible thing, and how could anybody not think that? I mean, our standing in the international community just keeps going down and down and down and down. And thankfully, it seems like Trump's standing, even among his own people, is going down because of some of the stuff that he's doing internationally. I saw a survey that showed that 75% of Americans that were surveyed in this poll oppose getting involved in Greenland. And it's just an example of the mistakes that he's making. I think it's going to cost him and the Republicans big time.
I think that the last time, before like all the craziness went down, I had been looking at the tariffs, and the last time that Republicans decided to implement tariffs, they wound up losing Congress and the White House for, what was it, 13, 14 years?
Yeah.
And like it backfired on them. And I think just looking at the way things are going, I see that same thing happening again, which is unfortunate because we really need. We should get rid of the party system altogether if it were my call. But we need two opposing ideals to actually make things move forward. Because, I don't know. What did you think about Gavin Newsom's Trump-branded knee pads that he brought with him to give to all the world leaders at the World Economic Forum?
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
So Gavin Newsom went to the World Economic Forum, and he brought with him a whole bunch of these red knee pads with Donald Trump's signature on them. And he was handing them out to world leaders like, here.
Miss that.
It was great.
My Lord, how did I miss that?
In one of the little like conferences, he was up on stage and they brought it up, and he had them thrown up to him so he could show them on TV to everyone while he was on stage. Greatest troll ever.
Well, Gavin Newsom has been a master at trolling Trump. I mean, I love what he's been doing, and so. I mean, he's positioning himself very, very, very well as probably the leader for the Democrats, don't you think?
I do.
Wait, I wasn't supposed to ask you that.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, I'll take that question. I as a Californian, right? So I was born and raised in California, and man, I will. It's easy to blame the Democratic Party for the state of things in California because they've been in power for so long. But when you look back at it, like the whole rolling blackout scenario or situation that occurred in the early 2000s was the result of deregulation that was caused by the Republican Party, specifically Reagan during his time as a governor, right? It just took that long to catch up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at California now, it's a powerhouse, but it's also a wreck, right? It's not affordable to live there. Gas prices are $7 a gallon, and the average Joe can't afford to pay that price. You're looking.
Jeez.
I think my son, he lives out there, and he's paying $2,000 for a studio apartment, and that's $2,000 a month. There's just not enough out there to help them. So I think, on the one hand, I think he's going to be he's positioning himself really well.
Right.
I think it'll be awesome to see him go against the romancer of the couch, JD Vance, and go after that. Because
the romancer of the couch. Holy shit. You know, my wife is in my studio audience and she's sitting here cracking up.
I can hear the laughter. That's what I'm going for. Like when I'm making the joke, if she laughs, I know I'm doing good.
Can you quiet down there, Jack?
No, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up some more.
Oh, man.
So the recent spate of ICE attacks that have been occurring in Minnesota, and the way that they've been covering or at least changing the narrative, despite the fact that we can see visually these videos.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen this occur with an administration before? Or is this something that it's new, where they're trying to rewrite history actively while we're watching it occur?
I have not seen this, and I've been following politics for a long time, starting in the 1960s, actually. And I've never seen anything like this. You know, I did an interview the other day with somebody who compared Trump to Richard Nixon. And it was a very interesting conversation. And her conclusion was that Trump is far worse than Nixon ever was, for a lot of reasons. Most of which are the fact that what he's been doing is patently illegal. Nixon actually did some progressive things when he was president, much to a lot of people's surprise. But this Trump thing has just been a disaster, and the country is paying the price. And I think now, honestly, even some of the MAGA folks, some of the Republican supporters of Trump, are beginning to see that, regret their vote because of all of this. I mean, the Epstein thing. When are they ever going to release those files? I mean, I saw a thing earlier today where they're talking about coming out with a report, but in good time. I mean, they're stalling, and there's got to be a reason for that. They're not just doing that because, you know, they want to. The Justice Department under Trump. And don't you... I shouldn't. I was going to ask you a question.
Go ahead. Let's just make this a conversation. We'll this is perfect.
All right, fine. I mean, don't you think... Now I forgot what I was going to ask you. The whole thing is just preposterous. What is happening with the Epstein thing, and I just feel like at some point it's going to break loose, and it's not going to be just Trump, but there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to get rolled up into this. It could be some Democrats too. I mean, you know, they keep trying to get our favorite President Clinton in there, and who knows? He was pretty active with the ladies, so who knows what he did.
And to be fair, for those in the MAGA, what I've seen all the time is MAGA goes, "Oh well, Clinton's in the Epstein files too," and I'm like, okay. Yeah. He needs to go to jail. Like if he's in the files,
exactly,
he needs to go to jail. The difference, I guess, what I've seen is that there seems to be a drastic difference between those of us who are willing to accept that people in power are bad, and then those who are willing or unwilling to accept that anyone other than Trump, or assuming that Trump is bad at all and that everyone else is bad.
Right.
Have you? So here's another one for you. And I'm not trying to call out your age, but you have more wisdom than I do, right?
Oh,
And
it's
we
okay. You can call it out. I'll tell you, I turned 83 the other day, and I'm still kicking, and I mean, I'm kicking pretty good. So
See, I would have figured you for like 60, 65-ish.
thank you.
But the hair makes it so that it's clear you're salty. And
Yeah,
so
I'm salty.
with that being said, have you ever seen the level of fanaticism centered around a singular political figure the way that we're seeing MAGA as a whole?
No, I was going to say, maybe with Reagan, because he still has a great many very, very loyal supporters. But even Reagan, as bad as he was with some of the deregulation actions that he instituted, even as bad as he was, he's nowhere near compared to Donald Trump, in my opinion. And so the reaction against Trump is more severe. I haven't seen it in all the years that I've been following and covering politics. I've never seen anything like this before. And I hope we never see it again.
It's almost like he can do no wrong. It just.
Well, I mean,
understand.
I agree with that. And I mean, people, the other day I hired a lady to come in and help me out with some caregiving needs that I have here in our family. And I said, by the way, you might be interested to know that I do a podcast called Lean to the Left, and I'm in South Carolina. So just a word to the wise. And she said, well, we don't share the same views, but that's okay. And, I just mentioned that because, number one, she's a person who is not a crazy, I support Trump no matter what person. She's more of a person willing to think. Unfortunately, a great many of the MAGA folks either don't think or aren't willing to think or are just so blindly loyal. And I think a lot of it stems way back from and it has to do with racism. It's just all built into racism. I think the guy is absolute white supremacist, total racist, and that shows up. Not only if you look at the pictures of the people surrounding him that work with him in the White House, you see any brown faces there?
No.
Very few females. Mostly
and
white
the ones
men.
that are plumped up with a whole bunch of Botox and
You got it.
yeah,
You got it. Yeah. Their favorite are their lips. They do a lot of lip stuff.
Christy Nome should definitely back off of that because it's bad, man. It is bad.
It is. It really is. And now they're trying. Now even some Republicans are saying she's got to go. And but how do you like the fact that they're constantly talking about how the Democrats weaponized the Justice Department against Trump? And now look what Trump is doing. I mean, weaponizing the Justice Department, he's using them as his own private Gestapo, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. And you heard about the FBI raiding the voting center in Georgia?
Yeah.
And I mean, taking the voting booths and the machines, like that's dangerous. Like
that's very dangerous. And our democracy is going down the toilet because of this guy. Can't get rid of him fast enough, in my opinion. It's just terrible. The fact that they raided that Washington Post reporter's home, took her laptop and her phone.
And that was
That
just a blip on the news, the
Yeah.
mainstream media. Like it
Yeah.
just popped up and then they moved on with it.
moved on.
Um,
Right.
Have you, so you created your show in order to combat Donald Trump's attacks on mainstream media.
Right. That's what
And
the original motive was. Yeah.
so with that being said, during his first term, like he attacked them and called them the enemy of the state, but he really didn't do much to make them bow to his will. Whereas this term, he seems to have almost taken control of all of the major news networks,
Well,
including
he's
CNN to an extent.
he's using all these lawsuits, and he's reaching these settlements with these people that are bending to his. They need to have those knee pads from Gavin Newsom.
that they do. That they do.
Don't you think?
when I saw those, and this is not like a slight at anyone in particular, but when I saw him bring those up, my first thought was Tim Cook needs him, because I mean he shows up in the Oval Office and presents Donald Trump with this glass thing saying that, you know, Apple agrees with Donald Trump and his tariffs.
Right.
And I'm like, Apple should be combating this, if
Right.
anything.
Right.
But it almost seems like everyone is
Right.
bending the knee to Donald
Yeah.
Trump. And
Yeah.
so concern here and question, there's been a lot of talk about a blue wave coming through and taking over at least the House. Do you think that it's a possibility? Do you think Democrats will be able to take the House over, maybe even the Senate? Maybe we can.
Well, I think the House is a possibility. I think the Senate is unlikely. It's just the numbers. I did a little research today in advance of this discussion, and according to Inside Elections Republicans, as of December 5th, now that's what, a month and a half ago, Republicans were expected to win 213 seats in the House compared to 212 for the Democrats. However, a New York Times January 29 poll asking party voters who they would support, the Democrats or the Republicans, in the upcoming election. Democrats were well ahead of Republicans when asked that question. Typically, you know, the party out of power gains ground in midterm elections, and that's likely to happen, I think, again this year. But I think the Senate is the margin's too much, and they don't have enough. They don't have enough of an opportunity in the Senate, according to the Center for Politics. The Center for Politics in mid-December, they had Senate Democrats with 46 solid seats and Republicans with 51 and 3 toss-ups. But in the election, with 33 seats up for election, Democrats are favored in only 13 compared to 22 for Republicans. Now, again, that was in mid-December, and a lot can happen between now and the election, between then and the election. A lot has happened since those polls were taken in December. Minnesota happened, Venezuela happened, on and on. Greenland happened. Yeah, right.
And Canada is already pushing to allow Chinese EVs into their market. I know the EU is in talks in the same process. And kind of what I've noticed is, and I guess I'm kind of shifting gears, but I'll do the Donald Trump weave.
There you go.
But what I've noticed is that Donald Trump seems to be enacting policies that favor China and Russia over the United States. Do you think that might have a play if it gets enough traction for the people to see, oh, you know what? He's doing more good for Russia and China than he is for us. So he's not really making America great again. He's making Russia and China great.
Well, in order for that to result in that fashion, people have to think about it. And I just don't know how many people really give it that much thought, especially those on the, that follow the wear those red hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pedo protectors is what I like to call them nowadays.
Right. Right. Exactly. Oh my God. When is the last time we had a president that the nickname was he was a pedo?
I don't think we've ever.
I don't think so. I don't think we ever had a president accused of having sex with little kids. And
I don't think we've had a 34 count felon as a president either.
No, we never have. No. Now I want to ask you a question. You were in the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do in the Marines?
I was an intelligence analyst.
All right. Did you work in the Marines for this kind of a result?
No, I didn't. And I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons that I'm so active in politics right now, because, and to be honest, and I think we talked about this in your show, I have always wanted to be in politics. Like politics is my passion. It's been my passion since I was little. But I never expected us to be in this situation.
Right. So you're going to run for office eventually, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I'm looking at 2028 is when I'm running.
Congress?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would say, I hope I have your vote, but you won't be up in my area to vote for me. But
well, maybe I'll just move there so I can do it. You know what? I'm interviewing. There's a young woman here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where I live. She's 15 years old, and she's planning to run for president when she grows up. And her first office she wants to run for is United States Senate. And she wants to run against Lindsey Graham. If he's still around by the time she's old enough to run for the Senate. But she's actually sponsoring events for people to come out and support a Democratic candidate who is looking for the nomination to challenge Lindsey Graham, Dr. Annie Andrews. She's running events for this person at age 15. She's going to graduate. Awesome. She's going to graduate from high school this year at age 16. And she's planning to run for. Anyway, I'm interviewing her on my Dixie Dems portion of my Lean to the Left podcast.
You're gonna have to let me know when that one is airing, so I can.
Don't you love that idea?
That is wow.
It
makes me think about. I'm 40 years old and I'm just now getting started. Sorry, what am I doing with my life?
Well.
that
I'm
is
twice
awesome.
your age, and I never did get so. Because I was never anxious to run for politics, run for office. I was always a behind the scenes guy. I worked for 2 congressmen as chief of staff and press secretary, and the second guy was Jim Florio, who became governor of New Jersey, and I loved working for him. He was very, very progressive. And what a great human being he was. And eventually, he even came on my Lean to the Left podcast and co-hosted with me a few episodes until he passed away. He passed away just, I don't know, about a year ago, I guess. And he was in his 80s. Yeah. But he was a good man, and I thoroughly enjoyed working for him. But no, I never wanted to be a candidate myself. I wanted to help good candidates succeed. And so I did that for part of my career. I liked it. Yeah.
So with that experience, here's one for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever, you worked for 2, did they ever do anything that caused you to think to yourself, this isn't the guy?
Yes.
And how did you handle that?
Well, the first guy that I worked for was a New Jersey Republican by the name of Ed Forsyth. And Ed Forsyth was he considered himself to be a moderate to liberal Republican, and it was during the Nixon administration that I worked for him, and it was right during the run up to whether there would be an impeachment vote or not. And he kept saying, he's my president, he's the head of my party, what am I going to do? And I said, well, you son of a bitch, you better vote to impeach the guy, or I'll tell you what, I'm out of here. And I said, you know, you just have to. And he finally made the decision that he would if it came to that. But there were other things that that he did that turned me off even more. One was he was standing up speaking to about 200 people with a microphone in front of him, and he cuts loose on a big fart.
Oh, no.
And it just reverberated through on all the speakers.
Oh, no.
I thought to myself, oh, man, and I'm working for this guy.
God, so those are like that's an embarrassing story that you don't really hear about. We need more of those.
He used to do it in staff meetings. We'd be sitting in his office. We had a staff of about, 20 people. And he would sit behind his big desk and lift up his butt and cut loose right in the middle of staff meetings. And it was just disgusting. And finally I had enough. And Jim Florio, one day I was in the cafeteria and he was in line with me, and he said, hey, you interested in maybe switching and coming to work for me? And I thought, oh my God, absolutely, yes. When can I start? And I did right away. And he had been having some staff trouble. And anyway, he asked me to do that, so I did, and I was very, very happy. And one other time, Forsyth sent me to a gathering of about 300 or 400 seniors, and Jackie knows, she's laughing. She knows what I'm about to tell you. And it was during the Nixon administration, and the big issue of the day was whether or not there would be a increase in Social Security payments. And the Republican position was no, that it would lead to inflation. So you give seniors an extra $20 a month, and that's going to cause this country to go into inflation. That was the Republican position, and that was Forsyth's position. And that was the position that I had to defend in this debate in front of 300 senior citizens against his young, rich Democratic opponent, who was all over, absolutely, yes, we need to have more money for seniors, and increasing Social Security is the first step. And I had to say, well, I'm sorry, but my boss thinks that it will lead to inflation. And I made it clear that my boss thinks it will lead to inflation, not me. Of course, they didn't give a shit what I thought anyway. But
right,
but that was another time I thought, I can't keep working for this guy. I really can't. And I was pretty much of a middle of the road person. I was never really considered myself either a Republican or a Democrat. Matter of fact, I voted as an independent and just voted for whoever I liked. And but then after the experience of working for him and working for Jim Florio, it became clear to me the party that was in favor of the average person, the party that cared about the average person, the party that cared about our environment, cared about our elderly, and was willing to step up and do what was needed. And that was the Democrats, not the Republicans. And
so what
I've
do
been
you
working
say? What? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you. It's just a
That's okay.
thought that then are at my head. What do you say to Republicans who look at us and say, it was the Republicans who freed the slaves, and it was the Democrats who wanted to enact Jim Crow laws. It was Democrats who fought and resisted against integration. It was Democrats, repetitively Democrats who were the ones that were on the wrong side of history, and Republicans were on the right side of history. How do you respond to that when they point those historical facts out?
My response is, well, that's a shame. It shouldn't have happened, but that's not the way it is today. It's the opposite. The table's turned. It's flipped. And it's the Republicans now who are on that side of the fence. And we need to change that. And we need to have, I don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. I have a friend of mine that's running for Congress. He said, don't vote for a letter, vote for the person. You know, if there's an R next to the guy's name here in South Carolina, that's pretty much guarantees he's going to win. We shouldn't do that. I mean, he's running against a congressman here who is just a big do-nothing. All he does is, whatever Trump says, he does. And he's running against this guy, and he's running the best campaign I've ever seen run here in South Carolina, but I also saw the Cook report has him has his opponent, the Republican, who is Russell Fry, solidly in the solid to win category. So my friend is John Vincent, and shout out to South Carolinians, because if you live in his district, the 7th Congressional District, he's a guy you need to be supporting, not Russell Fry.
Do you think, refresh me, what district is Nancy Mace currently representing?
She's in the 1st district, which is south of us. It's Charleston.
Okay. And
Charleston area. Yeah.
She's obviously not running again, because
no, she's running for governor.
For governor.
Right.
Right. Do you think she's going to win that?
No. I don't think she's going to get the nomination. The vice governor, assistant, what's it called here? I can't remember. Lieutenant governor.
Lieutenant governor,
The lieutenant governor, Pamela Evett, I think has the upper hand in that. There's several candidates, so there's probably 4 or 5 Republicans that are running for that seat. So there are a couple of pretty good Democrats, but one of them, the poor guy, had an episode in May, I think it was, where he was outside at night. He's from the Charleston area too, running around in his boxer shorts with no shirt on, and he was arrested for disturbing the peace. And there's this dash cam video of him in the backseat of the police car without a shirt on, screaming at the police officers and cursing and yelling at Trump and going nuts. And I mean, I've interviewed him on my show and asked him, what is it that caused all that? And he said, well, all in good time. It'll come out in good time. And I said, well, how about right now? Tell me what happened. And it turns out that he had been taking a lot of prescription drugs to deal with anxiety and stress and all that. And so he's kind of blaming it on that. But he still didn't come up with a very, very good explanation as to what happened. And he's running against a big African-American former professional basketball player who is very, very well-spoken, and I think probably has the lead for the Democratic nomination. I think he'll probably win the nomination. But then it'll be tough for him to actually win the governorship in this state.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. You talk to people here, they're still Trump people. It is heartening. I mean, I go into restaurants sometimes, and especially the young servers, and you get into a conversation with them, and I'll tell them about my podcast, and they'll be all interested and supportive, and that gives me kind of hope, because these are the younger people who are doing that. So I this is a state that's going to be very, very difficult for the Democrats to actually make much headway, I think, on the whole, for a while. Even despite Trump, because, we have these people here that they go on Facebook, and no matter what the guy does, they got an excuse for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always a reason.
Right.
I mean, and to be fair, South Carolina is still fairly rural. You've got, 3 major cities in the state?
Yeah, I suppose that's right.
So
Columbia,
I guess that,
yeah.
Columbia, Charleston, and and Myrtle Beach. I remember well, see, I can't talk right now. I remember when Myrtle Beach was the place to go. I mean, when stationed in Lejeune, we always took the weekend, went down to Myrtle Beach, but now it seems like it's gone downhill a little bit.
And they just kicked the mayor out and elected a new mayor. And one of the first things he did was to kill off an initiative that the previous administration had budgeted, I don't know, a couple of $1 million to do a new logo and a new branding thing for the Myrtle Beach. So he canceled that. He said it wasn't necessary. But then I saw a report where they showed some fancy lights on a street along the main street, Ocean Highway, I think it's called. And they showed all these lights, and that's his effort to bring more people to Myrtle Beach, is to put up lights. Yeah. Actually, it'd be a good idea if they cut down on crime. I think maybe that would be a good idea.
That might help.
Yeah, and they cut down on bed bugs. I mean, there's stories in the paper lots of times about this motel being shut down because of bed bugs, or people filing a suit because of bed bugs. Where do you think the name Dirty Myrtle came from? Came from somewhere.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but the beach is beautiful. We have a really gorgeous beach. The sand is nice, and it's a nice wide beach. Love going to the beach here. So anyway, well, this has been fun, man.
Yeah. I do appreciate the time. It has been a very fun conversation. And I hope to keep communicating with you.
Thank you, Carl. I would love to do that. And I'd like to have you back on my show.
It would be a pleasure.
Okay. So we'll do that.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and we'll keep in touch, and we'll talk to you on the flip side.
All right. Thank you, buddy.